It takes a lot of mental fortitude to correct your financial situation. Perhaps the biggest lesson I've learned as it pertains to money and life in general is how much your mindset affects your reality. It is not easy to start a business from nothing. It wasn't easy to overcome being unemployed and then underemployed. Dealing with financial missteps also isn't easy. But here's the thing, nothing really is. That's why your mental game is so important. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We live in what I like to call a microwave Pop-Tart world. We want instant gratification because that's what we've become accustomed to. We can literally buy something from Amazon and have it delivered in an hour. But that's not how money works like at all. Money is a long game. For example, it takes time to save money and see the return on your investments unless, of course, you had a lot of money to begin with. It also takes time to pay off your debts. And don't even get me started on how people want instant success in business. Here's a newsflash. Instagram is not a good indicator of how much time, dedication, and work goes into building a business. Your emotions can really mess up your finances. Perhaps the biggest thing I've learned about life in general over the last few years is how to manage my emotions. When I was 21, 20 seconds, I was suffering from panic attacks. It was during this time that I discovered yoga, meditation, and personal development. I didn't know it at the time, but it would help me with my finances. I know not to panic when everyone else is. I also know not to buy into the hype. I'm looking at you, Bitcoin. When challenges present themselves, I meet them. I don't spend all my money when going through emotional hardship. I don't pull my money out of the stock market on a bad day, and I don't assume the worst in business. There's a difference between feeling a range of emotions and letting them take over your life. Am I happy all the time? Of course not. For example, over the last few months I've been on an emotional roller coaster. But as I've recently learned, there's a difference between feeling a range of emotions and letting them take over your life. When I was 22, I had no control over my emotions. Now I feel them, but I have a handle on them. Who you choose to hang out with matters. I've been cutting toxic people out of my life left and right since I started on this journey 8 years ago. In fact, I'm convinced that part of the reason I've had so much success is because of the people I choose to be around. I want to learn. I want to be around people pushing the limits. I want deep conversations, and I certainly don't have time for petty bullshit. I was recently reminded of this point and had to do some cleaning in my life once again, which brings me to my next point. Unfortunately, some people don't want to see you succeed. Oh man, this is one harsh lesson I've learned lately, because I'm usually around extremely supportive, happy, and well-adjusted people. I sometimes forget that's the minority. I literally forget that, unfortunately. There are people out there who are petty when my guard is down. The occasional toxic person gets in. Unfortunately, I learned there were some messy people in my life who did not want to see me happy. I don't know why, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is as soon as I found out, I cut them out of my life. My point being that, if you are trying to change your life for the better and you've got things going for you, you need to be aware that not everyone will like it. This is especially true if you find yourself moving up higher than the current company you keep. Toxic people will drag you down. Don't apologize for your happiness. Just because people may not like that you're happy doesn't mean you need to apologize for it. I found myself downplaying how awesome my life actually is around certain people. It turns out those were the same people who didn't want to see me succeed. I've worked too hard to get to where I am in life to apologize for it. If you're reading this, then I'm sure you have too. Meditation is a lifesaver. My first attempt at meditation was back in 2010. While I didn't have a daily practice until recently, it was regular enough where I noticed the difference when I skipped a few days. Amanda on meditation, clear, level-headed, isn't so reactive to challenges, uses her intuition more, attracts opportunities like a moth to a flame. Amanda not on meditation, cranky, can't cut through the bullshit, sweats the small stuff, not very forgiving when she should be. Everything seems way harder than it needs to be. I recently completed 1 full year of daily meditation, and my life looks drastically different than it did a year ago. I'm manifesting stuff left and right. I'm also more chill. Unlearning what we tell ourselves about making money is hard. Making money isn't hard. It really isn't. You provide value and receive value in return. What is hard is identifying and letting go of cultural conditioning, psychological blueprints, bad experiences, and our own negativity biases. School didn't teach me anything about the real world. There I said it, I still think an education is important, but they really need to start teaching life skills, especially when you start looking at the price tag of a college education. At the very least, let's teach mindfulness, a basic personal finance class, and a class called Hustle 101. Work-life balance doesn't exist. Oh man, when I started blogging back in 2010, work-life balance was all the rage. I feel like I chased it for a couple of years. It's taken me a long time to realize this doesn't actually exist. There is something to be said for luck preparation and good timing. I struggled for many years to get my points across. Now, I have financial companies blowing up my inbox wanting to work with me. I say this to share an important lesson. Sometimes it really is a matter of timing. I may not have known exactly what my career would look like, but I knew I was on to something and was prepared when good timing finally came. There is no one-size-fits-all financial formula. Aside from some basic stuff, don't spend more than you earn. Save for emergencies, save for retirement, pay your taxes, etc. Everyone's situation is drastically different. No one wants the same things, and what works for one person won't work for everyone. For example, I'm a 30-year-old, single, self-employed Latina with no kids living in a major city. Do you think a lot of the common financial advice that's out there works for me? It sure doesn't. This is why you need to figure out what you value and what that translates to in your financial life. In my case, it also looks like having trusted people like my accountant who can tell me what my retirement account options are and what works best for tax purposes. Take risks more often. Although I feel like I'm naturally risk-averse, the truth is I've taken a lot of risks over the years. Quitting my job was a risk. Starting a business was a risk. I've made a lot of financial investments that at the time were risks like paying for mentorship. And you know what? With the exception of maybe one, they've all paid off. The fear of the unknown keeps people stuck. We want to know our risks will always pay off, but there's really no way of knowing that until people realize that they will remain where they are.